My parents always favored my sister, so I moved out. 6 months later, they're begging me to come back, but I discover a photo album that reveals the shocking truth about my childhood. I'm Julie, 19, female, and I have a younger sister, Jennifer, 16, female. Our family dynamic has always been complicated, but recent events have pushed me to my breaking point. To understand the situation, I'd need to go back a bit. My parents, Donald, 45, male, and Martha, 43, female, met in college and got married young. They always talked about wanting a big family, but they struggled with fertility issues for years. When I was finally born, they were overjoyed. But I wasn't an easy baby. I cried constantly and had stomach pains. My mom often tells the story of how she barely slept for the first 6 months of my life. As I grew older, it became clear that I was different from what my parents expected. I was introverted and sensitive, preferring to read books or draw rather than play sports or join clubs. My parents didn't quite know how to handle this. They'd try to push me into activities I didn't enjoy, then get frustrated when I didn't excel. When I was 7, my mom unexpectedly got pregnant with Jennifer. It was a difficult pregnancy, and she was on bed rest for the last trimester. I remember feeling confused and a little neglected during this time. My dad was busy taking care of my mom, and I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Jennifer was born healthy and happy. Unlike me, she rarely cried and was always smiling. My parents were thrilled, especially after the difficulties they'd had with me. As Jennifer grew, she proved to be everything they'd hoped for in a child: outgoing, athletic, and naturally gifted in school. The contrast between us became more apparent as we got older. When I was 12, I started struggling with anxiety and depression. I'd have panic attacks before school and often felt overwhelmed by social situations. My parents didn't understand. They'd tell me to snap out of it or stop being so dramatic. Meanwhile, Jennifer was thriving. She joined the soccer team and quickly became the star player. She had tons of friends and was always busy with sleepovers or parties. My parents beamed with pride at her accomplishments. When I was 16, things got even more complicated. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, a chronic pain condition. Suddenly, I needed accommodations at school and frequent doctor's appointments. My parents acted like this was a huge inconvenience. They'd complain about having to drive me to specialists or pick up my medications. One incident stands out in my memory. I had a particularly bad flare-up the same day as one of Jennifer's big soccer games. I was in so much pain I could barely move, but my parents insisted on going to the game anyway. They left me alone with some painkillers and a microwave dinner. I remember lying there, listening to the house phone ring, probably my grandmother checking on me, feeling completely abandoned. As high school progressed, the favoritism became even more blatant. For my 16th birthday, my parents got me a $50 gift card to a bookstore. For Jennifer's 16th birthday a few months ago, they bought her a car. When I brought up how unfair this seemed, they told me I was being ungrateful and that Jennifer deserved it more because of her good grades and extracurriculars. My parents' attitudes affected my relationship with Jennifer, too. We used to be close when we were younger. I'd read her bedtime stories and help her with her homework. But as the favoritism grew more obvious, we drifted apart. Jennifer never deliberately rubbed it in my face, but there was always an undercurrent of tension between us. Throughout all of this, my best friend Megan was my rock. We met in middle school when we were paired up for a science project. Unlike most of our peers, Megan didn't think I was weird or too quiet. She accepted me as I was and always stood up for me. Her family became a second home to me. Her parents, John and Lisa, often invited me over for dinner or weekend trips. They showed interest in my art and always asked how I was feeling. It was with them that I first understood what unconditional support felt like. The final straw came last week. I overheard my parents talking about college plans for Jennifer. They were discussing elaborate campus tours across the country and that they'd help her pay for whatever school she wanted. When I started college this year, they told me I was on my own for tuition and that I should just go to community college to save money. I confronted them about it, and things got heated. I laid out all the ways they'd favored Jennifer over the years: the gifts, the attention, the support. I told them how hurt I'd been, how their lack of understanding about my mental and physical health issues had made everything so much harder. Instead of listening, they got defensive. My mom said I was being dramatic again and trying to make everything about me. My dad got angry and said, well, maybe if you'd applied yourself more like Jennifer, we'd be willing to help you too. That comment broke something in me. All the years of feeling less than, of trying to shrink myself to fit their expectations, came crashing down. I realized in that moment that nothing I did would ever be good enough for them. I packed up my stuff that night and went to stay with Megan. Her family welcomed me with open arms, no questions asked. When I explained the situation through tears, John and Lisa said I could stay with them as long as I needed. Megan hugged me and said, "You're family to us, you know that, right?" It's been a week now, and my parents have barely reached out. They sent one text asking when I was done with my tantrum and coming home. I told them I wasn't coming back. My mom flipped out, saying I was tearing the family apart and being selfish. She said I needed to think of how this was affecting Jennifer. I feel conflicted. Part of me feels guilty for abandoning my family. I worry about Jennifer and how this is affecting her. But another part feels relieved to be out of that toxic environment. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Megan and her parents have been so supportive, encouraging me to focus on my mental health and studies. Jennifer texted me yesterday asking me to come home. She said she misses me and that our parents are really upset. I do miss her, but I don't think I can go back to that house. The thought of returning makes me feel panicky and trapped. Am I the jerk for moving out and refusing to come home? Should I have tried harder to work things out with my parents? I feel like I've tried for years to fit into their mold, to be the daughter they wanted, but it's never been enough. Is it wrong to finally put myself first? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up like it did. Thank you all for the supportive comments and advice. To address a few common questions, yes, I am financially independent from my parents. I work part-time at a local bookstore and have some savings. Megan's family is helping me out for now, but I'm looking for a better paying job. Several people asked about my relationship with Jennifer. We used to be close when we were younger, but grew apart as the favoritism got worse. I don't blame her for our parents' actions, but it's been hard to maintain a close relationship. My parents have not reached out again since that initial text. I'm giving myself space from them for now while I figure things out. I'll post an update if there are any major developments. Thanks again for all the support. It really means a lot. Update 1. It's been about a month now since my original post. A lot has happened, so I wanted to give an update. First, I want to thank everyone for the overwhelming support and advice. It really helped me feel more confident in my decision to move out. Shortly after my post, my parents showed up at Megan's house unannounced. They demanded to speak with me, but Megan's parents refused to let them in without my consent. I decided to go outside and talk to them briefly. My mom was crying, and my dad looked furious. They accused me of being ungrateful and said I was hurting Jennifer by abandoning her. When I tried to calmly explain my feelings again, my dad interrupted and said, well, maybe if you'd applied yourself more like Jennifer, we'd be willing to help you too. That comment broke something in me. All the years of feeling less than, of trying to shrink myself to fit their expectations, came crashing down. I realized in that moment that nothing I did would ever be good enough for them. I packed up my stuff that night and went to stay with Megan. Her family welcomed me with open arms, no questions asked. When I explained the situation through tears, John and Lisa said I could stay with them as long as I needed. Megan hugged me and said, "You're family to us, you know that, right?" The conversation quickly devolved into them yelling at me on Megan's front lawn. They brought up every perceived slight and failure of mine from childhood. My mom said, "We tried so hard with you, Julie. We took you to all those doctors. We bought you all those art supplies. Why couldn't you just be normal like your sister?" That comment stung more than I expected. It brought back memories of all the times they compared me to Jennifer or other normal kids. I remembered the time in middle school when I had a panic attack before a school presentation. Instead of comforting me, my dad had said, "Why can't you be more like Jennifer? She never gets nervous about these things." My parents continued their tirade, alternating between guilt-tripping and threats. They said if I didn't come home immediately, I shouldn't bother coming back at all. My dad even said, "If this is how you want to act, don't expect any help from us in the future. No more health insurance, no more phone plan. You're on your own." I stood my ground, even though inside I was shaking. I told them I wasn't coming back. The look of shock on their faces was almost comical. I don't think they ever expected me to stand up to them like this. After they left, I broke down crying. Megan and her family were incredibly supportive. Her mom made me tea and sat with me, letting me cry it out. Her dad started looking into resources for independent students at my college. A few days later, Jennifer called me crying. She apologized for showing our parents the post and said she didn't realize how bad things had gotten between us. We had a long talk about our childhood and how differently our parents treated us. It was eye-opening for her. Jennifer admitted that she'd always felt pressure to be perfect because of how our parents praised her. She said she was jealous of me sometimes because I seemed stronger for standing up to them. I was surprised to hear that, since I always felt weak compared to her. She told me about a time when she was 12 and got a B on a math test. Our parents had acted so disappointed, making her feel like she'd failed them completely. "I cried myself to sleep that night," she said. "I wished I could be more like you, not caring so much about their approval." I was stunned. All this time, I thought Jennifer had the perfect life, but she'd been struggling too, just in different ways. We agreed to work on rebuilding our relationship separate from our parents' influence. It won't be easy, but I'm glad we're both willing to try. As for my parents, they've been alternating between love bombing and guilt tripping. They'll send messages saying they miss me and want to work things out, but when I don't immediately agree to come home, they switch to saying I'm selfish and ungrateful. One day, my mom will text saying, "Sweetie, we miss you so much. Please come home. We can work this out as a family." The next day, my dad will send an angry message like, "You're breaking your mother's heart. How can you be so selfish?" It's exhausting and confusing. Part of me still yearns for their approval and love. There are moments when I'm tempted to give in, to go back home and try to be the daughter they want. But then I remember how much happier and calmer I've felt since leaving. I'm standing firm in my decision to stay away. Megan's family has generously said I can stay with them through the summer. I'm looking for a better paying job so I can hopefully get my own place soon. It's been a difficult month emotionally, but I feel stronger every day. I'm focusing on my mental health, studies, and building a support system outside my family. I've started journaling to process my feelings and have been spending more time on my art. There are still hard days where I doubt myself or feel guilty, but overall, I know I made the right choice for my well-being. I'm learning to set boundaries and prioritize my own needs. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Thank you all again for the encouragement and advice. It means more than you know to have support during this difficult time. Update 2. It's been about 3 months since my last update. Things have continued to be complicated with my family, but I'm doing much better personally. The biggest development is that I've moved into my own apartment. It's tiny and not in the best area, but it's mine. I found a job at a local art supply store that, combined with my savings and some help from Megan's family, allows me to cover rent and basic expenses. It's tight, but I'm managing. Moving day was bittersweet. Megan and her family helped me move in, and saying goodbye to them was harder than I expected. They've been such a source of support and stability over the past few months. Megan's mom, Lisa, got teary as she hugged me goodbye. "You know you always have a home with us," she said. It meant the world to me. My parents' behavior has continued to be erratic. They cycle between ignoring me completely and bombarding me with messages. Last month, they showed up at my new apartment. Jennifer had accidentally let slip where I was living during one of our phone calls. They tried to force their way in, saying they just wanted to talk. I refused to let them in, but they wouldn't leave. My dad started yelling about how I was ruining the family and that I owed them for everything they'd done for me. My mom was crying, begging me to come home. It was awful. I finally threatened to call the police if they didn't leave. They left, but not before my dad yelled that I was dead to them. A week later, my mom sent a long email apologizing and begging me to come home. She wrote about how much she missed me and how the house felt empty without me. For a moment, I felt that old pull to give in, to try one more time to be the daughter they wanted. But then I remembered all the years of feeling not good enough, of walking on eggshells in my own home. When I didn't respond, she went back to saying I was ungrateful and selfish. Jennifer and I have been talking more regularly. She's starting to see our parents' toxic behavior more clearly now. She told me that things at home have gotten tense. Our parents fight constantly and blame each other for me leaving. Jennifer says she feels stuck in the middle. Last week, Jennifer called me in tears. She'd gotten into an argument with our parents about her college choices. She wants to study art, but our parents are insisting she pursue business or law. They kept saying, "We don't want you to end up like you," she said, "but I don't want to live my life just to please them anymore." I feel guilty that Jennifer has to deal with this, but I know it's not my fault. I've encouraged her to focus on her own mental health and future plans. We're planning for her to visit me at my new place soon, away from our parents' influence. My relationship with Megan and her family remains strong. They check in on me often and have been an incredible support system. Last weekend, they surprised me by showing up at my apartment with home-cooked meals to stock my freezer. It was such a thoughtful gesture, and it made me realize that family isn't always about blood. I've also been reconnecting with my grandmother, my dad's mom. She reached out after hearing about the situation from my parents. At first, I was wary, expecting her to try to convince me to go back home. But she surprised me. "I always worried about how they treated you," she said. "I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself." She's been calling regularly to check on me and has even offered some financial help if I need it. It means a lot to have an adult family member validate my experiences and support my decisions. Overall, I'm proud of the progress I've made. There are still hard days where I doubt my decision or feel guilty, but mostly I feel relieved and hopeful for the future. I'm learning to set boundaries and prioritize my own well-being. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update. Life has settled into a new normal, and I wanted to share how things have progressed. I'm still in my small apartment and working at the art supply store. It's not always easy, but I'm managing. I've even started taking a few extra classes at community college to work towards my degree in graphic design. The situation with my parents remains tense. They've mostly stopped trying to contact me directly, but they occasionally send messages through Jennifer or other family members. These messages swing between guilt trips and angry accusations. I've gotten better at not engaging with them. Last month, there was an incident that really shook me. It was my birthday, and I received a package in the mail. Inside was a photo album filled with pictures of me and my family from when I was younger. There was also a card that said, "Remember when things were good? Come home and we can be a family again." At first, I was touched. Looking through the photos brought back a lot of memories. Family vacations, holiday gatherings, moments where we all looked happy. For a moment, I felt that old pull to give in, to try one more time to be the daughter they wanted. But then I remembered all the years of feeling not good enough, of walking on eggshells in my own home. When I didn't respond, she went back to saying I was ungrateful and selfish. But then I noticed something. In almost every photo I was in the background or off to the side, while Jennifer was front and center. There were dozens of pictures of Jennifer's soccer games and dance recitals, but none of my art shows or writing contests. It was like looking at a visual representation of my entire childhood. That album was a stark reminder of why I left. I realized that even their attempt to reach out was tainted by their inability to see me as an individual separate from Jennifer. I packed the album away in a closet and haven't looked at it since. Jennifer has visited me a few times over the past months. It's been good to reconnect with her away from our parents' influence. She's starting to seriously consider colleges and has confided in me that she's not sure she wants to follow the path our parents have laid out for her. Last week, she told me she's thinking of taking a gap year to travel and figure out what she really wants. "I don't want to wake up in 10 years and realize I've been living someone else's life," she said. I'm supporting her as she explores her own interests and options, even though I know our parents will probably blame me for corrupting her. The most significant development is that our aunt, our mom's sister, reached out to me recently. Her name is Carol, and I was never particularly close to her growing up. She lives in another state, and we only saw her once or twice a year. She said she'd noticed the family tension and wanted to hear my side of things. After I explained everything, she was horrified. I always thought something was off, she said, but I never realized it was this bad. She told me about her own struggles with our mom when they were younger, how our mom always had to be the perfect one. Carol has become an unexpected ally. She's been advocating for me with the rest of the family and has even offered to help me find an internship in graphic design at her company. It means a lot to have an adult family member validate my experiences and support my decisions. My friendship with Megan remains strong. She's been my rock through all of this. Last month, when I was feeling particularly down about my family situation, she organized a chosen family dinner with her parents and a few of our close friends. It was a powerful reminder that family isn't just about blood relations. I've also been focusing on my art more. I've started an online shop selling my designs, and while it's not making much money yet, it feels good to be putting my work out there. My grandmother bought one of my prints and proudly displays it in her living room. Looking back over the past year, I'm amazed at how much has changed. There are still challenging days. Sometimes I'll hear a song or smell a certain food that reminds me of home, and I'll be hit with a wave of nostalgia and doubt. But overall, I feel stronger and more confident in myself. I'm learning to build a life on my own terms, surrounded by people who genuinely care about my well-being. It's not the family I was born into, but it's the family I'm choosing for myself. And for now, that's enough.